Okay, I'm live and I'm going to try to make another attempt to do a successful video. I'm having trouble this morning. So bear with me. I want to talk about why the right needs to be defeated in the public arena of ideas and basically where the left has kind of gone wrong. And when I define the left, I mean the left, people who are of my like minded mindset in the ideological sphere where I reside, whether they're to my left or slightly to my right or kind of orbiting where I orbit. And then I'm also including the corporate Democrats who kind of play the role being the left when they're really not, but I digress. I could go as far back as the 1980s to do this commentary, but the 1980s seemed like a long time ago. Um, I would have said maybe about 10, 15 years ago. The 1980s would have seemed like yesterday. I could make that was the that was the Ronald Reagan, George Bush Senior year. I could make the case for the 1990s with Bill Clinton. And until about 1 or 2 years ago, the 1990s seemed like an hour ago earlier this morning or something like that. So the best way to start is to start with the post 9/11 world as we know it, September 11th, 2001. And boy, did it get partisan, something that shouldn't even be partisan, and that is 9/11. And I don't care where you reside on the political spectrum. It was terrible and a travesty. It was just horrible what happened. And of course, George W. Bush and Dick Cheney respond to it in the most uh, inefficient and dangerous ways that somebody could actually respond to this situation. And it was a unified right that was kind of created by that Reagan coalition, and they pretty much had it. It was pretty much understood that it was us versus them. It was us real Americans, conservatives, versus those secular liberal progressives over there and their allies, the Muslim world. That was kind of their mindset at that time. So if you opposed the war in Iraq, or the events that was leading up to the war in Iraq in 2002, 2003, you were considered a traitor, treasonous. You wanted terrorism to win, and for some reason, the mindset was that Saddam Hussein was working with Osama bin Laden, which made no sense at all. But the problem with Islamophobia from the right is that they think that the entire Islamic world are all unified when there are differing interpretations of Islamic theology that that they're all unified when they're kind of at war with each other, and that is really impossible for many of them to be unified to take over the West. So I do kind of refute this caliphate that Glenn Beck squawked all about a decade ago. Um, and the problem with the left is they go about it the opposite way. That if there's an act of terrorism taking place, they go out of their way to not even want to act like that maybe a warped interpretation of Islamic theology by an individual or maybe a group of people could have promoted them to commit the acts of terrorism. That is not to be implied or said, and you're a bigot if you even say that. And both the right wing and the left wing are kind of being too naive in their worldviews, and sometimes the truth is in the grubby center. Um, when you know not calculated at all and everything. And to make a long story short, the Bush, Cheney, the Republican Party, the Fox News, talk radio, evangelical TV preachers pretty much control the narrative and says you oppose them, you oppose America, you oppose God, you oppose the family, you oppose our our Judeo-Christian culture, blah 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 blah, and you know, left pretty much took their tongue lashing by the right to I would say maybe about sometime by the second um, Bush term. It was starting to be people on the left. They're like, you know, we're not taking this crap anymore. Taking it so long from right, we're not taking it anymore. They were defying George W. Bush, his presidency, and the right wing were just like, look at them there, they just hate President Bush. I'm right, is charged, but and then all of a sudden the outrage became selective, and when Obama became president, because people were fatigued with this war, and so Obama took over, and then it was the right wing, the Tea Party people opposing Obama, and the liberals were kind of like, you know, complaining about it, and then they're like, "You ain't gonna take that right away, freedom of speech." But you know, if the right wing during the Bush presidency had it their way, they would take the right of the way for the left to freedom of speech, just as the Trump administration would basically destroy the First Amendment if they could legally get away with it. And yeah, I said what I said. Um, During the Obama presidency, they call him a Kenyan-born Muslim, and call them a racist. They get upset, but you know, they pretty much you know, made a lot of racist comments about the worker, you know, born in Kenya, secret Muslim trying to destroy Western civilization, and that, you know, he's trying to bring about socialism and communism. They even call him a Nazi. Like, how the hell can you be all these things? Um, and they accuse him of trying to set up FEMA camps and what have you, or to put political prisoners. That's closer to being true during the Trump administration than it is Obama. But I digress. Then Trump came in, and then the resistance came along, and then they started to do their opposition. And and the Trump derangement syndrome is kind of ass backwards. They, you know, you have Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer calling Trump an asshole in public, but then they ended up voting for his judges. They ended up giving him more money for the military budget, authorizing the Patriot Act, this sort of thing. And you know what? Here's the thing: if I was a member of Congress or U.S. senator in the opposition, I would be absolutely. I mean, I would be like, absolutely not. You're not getting. You're not going to. I'm not okaying these judges. I'm not going to go and give him more money for military, but when we need to be actually cutting our military down to 50%. Um, I'm not going to do these things. I'm not going to give him uh, power by reauthorizing the Patriot Act. And I'm consistent because I wouldn't give I wouldn't even give people I like. You know, let's say Bernie Sanders win in 2024, or let's say Alexandria Ocasio Cortez become president in 2024. I wouldn't even want to give them that power. And I trust Bernie Sanders and I trust AOC more than I would, let's say, Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, let alone Donald Trump or Mike Pence. But anyway, the right's been pretty good and effective in the narrative and basically accusing the left of, of things that they're not guilty of, or exaggerating certain things about the left, which are just exaggerations, and making a caricature. And you know, I have cautioned the left about this sort of thing, but for years they don't listen to me. They didn't listen to me then, and they probably will continue not to listen to me, and be to our detriment when they do. I mean, for example, let's talk about the cultural issues of the day. When people like Caitlin Bennett, you know, the crazy gun girl, she goes on campus, and you know, this was prior to COVID. When she goes to campus, and she's asking these silly questions, trying to provoke a fight from students. I've been pretty pleased seeing the students' response. They know she's nutty as she can be, and they would just kind of maybe lightly engage in her, maybe use a little humor, and then walk away. That's the right approach. But when you have Fox News and you have the right wing talk radio and TV preachers, the way they have it, you would think that American cities are burning night and day everywhere. You would think that there's just massive looting in every community of the country, and that cops are just being attacked and beaten down and all of that. And no, I do not want to see cities burned down. I do not want to see cities looted. I do not want to see cops being burned down. But at the same time, I do not want cops going around racial profiling every black and brown person that they see driving down the street and finding just trying to find any old excuse to shoot somebody down. And and that you sit there and you criticize law enforcement, even when it's just a few bad apples or a significant number of bad apples in law enforcement. The right wing clutches their pearls, and they're the ones that act like the snowflakes, the easily offended, and telling liberals that they not to be easily offended. But it seems to be okay when they do it. So just I just basically what I'm saying is that the left do not need to give the right wing or feed the narrative more to the right wing than they're already getting right now, because we need to take them on and defeat them, and we need to defeat them by standing up for ourselves. You see, you got a part of the left that's afraid to take their own side in an argument. A lot of them tend to be corporate Democrats and people of that type. Then you got your Antifa like people that individually make overboard at times. And no, I'm not saying that Antifa is a problem. I am opposed to declaring Antifa as a terrorist organization. They're not. They're not. I'm, I may disagree with some tactics of Antifa, but I mean, I certainly am in opposition to Ted Cruz trying to put forth legislation to declare Antifa and to declare Black Lives Matter a terrorist organization. Of course, they're not a terrorist organization, and I can't believe there are people out there that believe that we're in the midst of a communist revolution when we're not one bit. But in fact, the Department of Homeland Security keeps telling people it's not the Antifa, it's not the Black Lives Matter, it's not even some legitimate bad guys across the ocean that they think they're acting on behalf of Islam. Those radical groups out there across the ocean. Um, they are saying that domestic white nationalists are the biggest threat to our democracy here in the United States. And so the Department of Homeland Security is being a stop clock, giving the right time twice a day. That's actually the case. But as I said, we need to win, and I want the left to win because our ideas are better than the ideas of the movement conservatives. Ideas being espoused, like say, for example, by people like Kyle Kalinske, is way superior to the crap that Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder likes to view over on social media. And so the point I'm trying to make is that we do not need to feed into the narrative and allow the right wing to win. And the progressives, we need to be unified and stand up for ourselves. We neither need to be like the corporate Democrats who are afraid to take on their own side of an argument, and we do not need to be maybe there's very few people that make overboard and want to beat the hell out of somebody for hurting somebody's feelings, and that's very few, and it's been inflated by the right. So I just want to say that. And as a side note, I am going to leave a link for a new channel called Radical Democracy, and that's a very good channel. And Kamali Rose is correct that we need the left and social media need to link ourselves together and become more relevant. We need solidarity amongst ourselves, And so that's what I'm kind of trying to do and been trying to do since February. So I will leave a link in the bottom for the Radical Democracy show at the end of this segment. But progressives need to stand up for ourselves, and we need to support freedom of speech to save our own lives. Because the right wing can't be allowed to get away as if they're free speech warriors when they have actually been trying to silence the left for many years. And we need to be the ones there that we need to win that public relations battle and not to look like authoritarians because we are not authoritarians. We need to stand up for economic populism, and that means have it so where 50, 60, 70, or 80% of the workforce belongs to a labor union, where Medicare for all is the norm, like it is basically in other democracies across the world, where medical care is free, one form or another of a single payer system. Um, we need to be there and show how free college and a Green New Deal and getting us out of these terrible neocon wars abroad that endangers our society. Um, and we need to show we're the free thinkers, we're the humanitarians, we are the enlightened ones, not the movement conservatives of Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder and Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and Mark Levin and Glenn Beck. They're not the free thinkers. They are opposed to the very idea of free thinking and moving forward and becoming more enlightened. We are the enlightened ones. So that's pretty much what I got to say. And if you like what you heard, press like, comment. Even if you hate what I have to say, you can comment anyway because I welcome all comments. Um, Share this information, subscribe. As a free speech absolutist, is incumbent upon me to tell everyone if you're passionate about something, feel free to use a platform to utilize it because we are the muckrakers of our time, for damn sure. And again, like, comment, even if you hate it, comment anyway. Share this information on this channel or any information I have. Um, Subscribe. Remember, we need to utilize our freedom of speech. And until next time, peace. And Bernie Sanders for president in the year 2024. And no, I wasn't kidding when I said that.